Population collapse, just another internet buzzword or humanity's next greatest catastrophe. For the last few decades, most people have only ever had a one-sided view on this matter. That the Earth's population is growing unsustainably, and that the Earth is far too overpopulated. However, in recent months and years, more and more people are waking up to the fact that there is a possibility that, in fact, the world is actually underpopulated, and that the human race is actually facing a new population crisis. A lack of population. There are countries in the world whose population is growing healthily and steadily, some countries who have peaked and are actually declining, and some countries whose population is about to explode. However, in about 60 years' time, the Earth's population is set to peak, and from then on will only ever decrease. If the human race doesn't wipe itself out, then 120 years after its peak, in the year 2200, it is predicted that the Earth's population will drop to between 2 to 3 billion. Around the same as what it was in the 1940s. The average life expectancy for a human then will be significantly higher than what it is today, and certainly higher than what it was in 1940. So, which countries across the planet are most at risk from this inevitable drop in population? Italy. Today, Italy's population is around 60 million, which is a pretty healthy number. What isn't so healthy in terms of demographics, however, is Italy's aging population. At 45.5, Italy ranks as having one of the oldest populations in the world, alongside one of the highest densities of people over the age of 100. By the year 2100, Italy's population is set to drop to below 40 million, wiping out a third of their population compared to today. This will place the Italians as the 58th most populated country in the world, with the majority of its citizens being middle-aged and older. Today, Italy is a wealthy country with a relatively large economy. It places in the top 10 for its GDP. However, over the next few decades, as its population continues to decrease, and the average resident gets older, Italy is likely to drop out of the top 10, and perhaps even the top 20 largest economies in the world, as many Asian and African countries' populations and economies boom. South Korea. South Korea recently ranked as the country with the lowest fertility rate in the world. Now this is bad, very bad for a country. This simply means that not enough babies are being born, which is especially worrying in a country that has an aging population. South Koreans have a very long life expectancy, and some of the best healthcare and technology in the world today. South Korea's population is around 51 million or so. It has pretty much peaked. By 2040, their population will drop to less than 50 million, less than 40 million in 2070, and by the year 2100, South Korea's population is set to collapse to less than 30 million, of which around a quarter of their entire population will be over the age of 75. Like many other Eastern Asian countries, migration levels in South Korea are very low, meaning if they can't maintain their population through new births, they must encourage migrant workers to move, work, and live there. By the year 2100, South Korea will rank as the 67th most populated country in the world compared to 27th today. China. China is expected to see a population crash of biblical proportions, like nothing the human race has ever witnessed before. Their population is projected to only keep on rising for the next few years or decade at most. Some demographers have actually predicted that the peak has already come and gone, and in fact, their population might have been decreasing for some years now. But anyway, China is currently the world's most populated country. It has a similar population to that of the entirety of Africa, around 1.4 billion. Over the next few decades, China's population will drop substantially. They will lose more people in the next 8 decades than what live in the USA and UK combined today, dropping from 1.4 billion to just over 1 billion in the year 2100. They will be replaced by India as the world's most populated country. Another way to reference this is that China will lose the equivalent of the entire population of South America over the next 80 years or so. Now picture South America in your head, and then remove every single person from that region. Wow. Japan. Japan is one of the few countries in the world whose population has actually already peaked and is starting to decline. Today it ranks as the 11th most populated country on Earth, with a large population of around 126 million. Although this number is significantly higher than what it was in 1950, their rank has fallen 6 places during this time. Every day that goes by, Japan's population decreases, even if it is just marginally. Simultaneously, there are quite literally tens of countries who are doing the exact opposite. As those days turn into years and then decades, Japan will see its population dominance continue to decline. Remarkably, Japan will drop to become the world's 36th most populated country by the next century. Countries like Somalia, Ghana, Mali, Zambia, and Burkina Faso will all overtake the Japanese. Spain. Today, Spain has a population of around 47 million, making them the 30th most populated in the world. Now, unfortunately for Spain, its population pyramid doesn't look too healthy. Its middle-aged and even elderly section is rather wide in comparison to its younger generation, and by quite some distance. In the year 1950, Spain was the 16th most populated in the world. However, by the year 2100, it is predicted to drop all the way down to the 63rd most populated, with a population of around 33 million. Now, this isn't the most significant drop out of all of the countries in today's video, but it is still a decent chunk. Similar to other countries on today's list, Spain has quite a high average life expectancy, meaning its population is aging while its younger generations are having fewer children every year. Greece. Greece has been such an influential country throughout time. You may assume that it is a big country in terms of its population. However, its population is just 10 million today, which means there are actually 33 cities in the world with a higher population than the entirety of Greece. Now, Greece's population has actually already, or almost, peaked, and from here on it will only decrease. By the next century, Greece's population is projected to drop to a mere 6.5 million. By this time, there could be around 10 billion humans on Earth, meaning Greece as a country will be no more than a drop in the ocean. By the year 2100, Greece is projected to be the world's 119th most populated country. For a country with such an influential and important history, this is, well, quite terrifying. Portugal. Portugal has a very similar story to that of Greece. It is a country with a significant historical background, but today only has a small population of around 10 million. Its average life expectancy is high, but not as high as Greece's. However, its population will soon start to decrease, and plunge down to a very similar figure to that of Greece's by the year 2100. Less than 7 million. They will rank just above Greece in the year 2100 as the 115th most populated country on the planet. Bulgaria. Bulgaria is another country whose population has already peaked, or is not far off peaking. Today, it has a population of around 6.8 million. Skip forward to the next century, and its population is set to decrease to just 3.5 million, an almost 50% drop. For reference, today there are around 121 cities with a larger population than this. By the year 2100, this number will likely be significantly higher, as more people live on the planet and migrate to urban areas. Thailand. This one took me by surprise a little bit. Today, Thailand's population is around 70 million, ranking them as the 20th highest in the world. However, Thailand's population has almost peaked. Give it another decade or so and it will actually start to decline. By the next century, Thailand's population is projected to drop to just 46 million, a drop of around a third. By then, Thailand will drop from being in the top 20 to the top 50 most populated countries in the world. So, there we have it. Some of the countries around the world that are facing the biggest population declines in the next coming decades. There are, of course, many other countries. Let us know if we missed any out. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. It is 100% free, and you can always unsubscribe at the click of a button. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you very soon in our next video.